William Morrow and Harper Audio present Franklin and Washington, The Founding Partnership by Edward J. Larson. Read by Andrew Tell. Preface. My dear friend. On May 13, 1787, one day before the scheduled start of the Constitutional Convention, Virginia delegate George Washington arrived in Philadelphia and, as his first formal act, visited Benjamin Franklin at his home. Everyone knew Washington would chair the convention and, if it succeeded, lead the nation. Franklin then served as president of Pennsylvania, the host state, and stood as the only American with stature comparable to Washington's. By all accounts, they were the two indispensable authors of American independence and key partners in any attempt to craft a more perfect union at the convention. Although they had different views on what was needed in a new constitution, both men agreed that fundamental reform was essential. Less than a month earlier, Franklin wrote to Thomas Jefferson about the convention, "If it does not do good, it must do harm, as it will show that we have not wisdom enough among us to govern ourselves." And after the convention, Washington repeatedly warned that without the Constitution, political chaos would engulf the land. Franklin and Washington had staked their lives and fortunes on the American experiment in liberty and were committed to its preservation. Escorted into Philadelphia by a military guard and greeted with the ringing of bells and cheers of townspeople, Washington no sooner unloaded his luggage at Robert Morris's mansion, where he was staying, than he called upon Franklin. Some historians surmise that, for added dignity, Washington rode the 2 blocks between the Morris and Franklin homes on Market Street in his fashionable carriage. I suspect he walked. The distance was almost too short to ride. Washington enjoyed walking, and any visit from the general carried dignity. More critically, riding would mean turning into the newly constructed street front arch and arriving at Franklin's interior courtyard with an enslaved black coachman and 2 liveried slaves serving as footmen. 7 years earlier, Quaker Pennsylvania became the first state to end slavery by statute, and by the time of Washington's visit, Franklin presided over the state's leading abolition society. Among his many gifts, Washington was an astute politician and pitch-perfect political actor who knew how to forge alliances. Arriving by carriage would not impress the down-to-earth Franklin, and the attendance of slaves might offend him. Having known Franklin for more than 30 years, Washington would have understood how to greet him, just as Franklin would know how to welcome Washington. Although not as accomplished an inventor or scientist as Franklin, no one in America was, Washington had an enlightened mind that embraced inventions and appreciated science. While it was modest in comparison to Washington's Mount Vernon estate, Franklin's recently remodeled house included features certain to delight Washington. An enlarged second-floor library held more than 4,000 books, making it one of the largest private collections in America. A glass harmonica of Franklin's own design, for which he composed music, and his already fabled electrical equipment. I hardly know how to justify building a library at an age that will so soon oblige me to quit it. Franklin, then 80, had written to his sister 6 months earlier, but by now had probably forgotten such reservations. Boyish in his enthusiasm, despite physical infirmities, Franklin also likely showed Washington a mechanical arm used to retrieve books from upper shelves, an early type of copying machine that employed slow-drying ink and a press to duplicate newly written letters, and a reading chair with foot pedals to propel a fan. Few visitors would have appreciated such curiosities.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?